So, Roxana, it would be really good if you could just tell us a little bit about Dunsinane and the idea of it and the life that it's already had at the RSC.
Okay, so Dunsinane was commissioned by the RSC, written by David Greig, and basically David took the idea. What happens at the point at which Shakespeare's Macbeth finishes? What is the story after it? And he had a slight sort of Scottish agenda in that Shakespeare's Macbeth is historically very, very inaccurate, and he wanted, in a way, to claim back the story. And so his Dunsinane is as historically accurate as you can get in terms of how much we know about that period. And the two key characters are Gruach, who in the play is Lady Macbeth, who in real life did not kill herself, but actually went on to be queen again. In fact, she was queen to 3 kings. She was very, very smart. And it's her relationship with Siward. And Siward is the English general who put Malcolm on the throne, who came from England to put Malcolm on the throne. And in the Shakespeare's Macbeth, he has 2 lines. And it's basically about, in a way, it's about the relationship between those 2 people and their 2 cultures and how they clash. And Siward is very much a sort of Englishman abroad who is really doing his best to do the right thing and getting it very, very wrong. And when David started writing it, the Iraq War was very, was all over the news. By the time we came to produce it, because the RSC has such long sort of pre-production rhythms, Afghanistan was really the main war. But of course, when you've got a play about someone who just doesn't understand other people's cultures but is trying to do the right thing, it's pretty timeless. It's always going on somewhere. And that's, I think, one of the great virtues of the play, is that it kind of lives on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we produced it at the Hampstead, well, it was a Royal Shakespeare Company production at the Hampstead Theatre, where it ran, did a 4-week run and was really, really well received. And we really wanted it to come to Scotland because there's a lot in it about language, about culture clash, about reclaiming history. And so it was really exciting when you rang up and said you'd do it. That's really exciting. That was brilliant.
Well, for us it's thrilling because we've never worked with the RSC before, but more importantly, even than working with that great institution, is being able to work with you, Roxana, because you've had such an impact, I think, in Scotland in terms of the work that you've done here with the playwrights, for the audiences and with the actors. So it's really exciting, I think, to have one of your productions with us. So, and so the actors are fantastic as well. The actors are some of our favourite Scottish actors. Tell us a little bit about who's in it.
Yeah, there's a great group of actors. There's Siobhan Redmond playing Gruach, and Johnny Phillips playing Siward. We had a fantastic. There's a lot of young soldiers in it, and a lot of it is about, in a way, Gruach and Siward are the mummy and daddy of all these young soldiers. And we found some really lovely young men, most of them still at drama school or just leaving, and I'm hoping most of them will come back. And then we've got Mari Morrison, who was our Gaelic speaker, so there's quite a lot of Gaelic in the play, and Lisa Hall, who's actually an Irish actress whose first language is Gaelic. And it was quite interesting working with those 2 and trying to find a Gaelic. And of course, the thing is about that time is that no one really knows what Scots sounded like, what Gaelic sounded like. So we're sort of having to make it up. And one of David's big challenges was how to make the language work in the play, because you're writing about a time that's so far removed and the language was so different.
I mean, I think what's so thrilling about this project is it's so perfect for us, really, to be able to bring to Scottish audiences. I wonder if maybe, Roxana, you could think a little bit or talk a little bit about what you think a Scottish audience is, if you can, if you have an idea about that, because I feel they're quite different to audiences down south.
Well, my experience of Scottish audiences when I was working at the Travis is that they're much warmer and they're much more engaged with theatre. It's extraordinary. The writers, the artist in Scottish culture is much closer to its audience. I don't know why. I think maybe because it's a smaller nation. But even when I was working with John Byrne, and you know, when we did the Slab Boys trilogy, and he walked into the bar, his relationship with the people who had come to see the play was very immediate. And you do get that thing where the audience come and talk to you. They come and talk to you as a director, as the actor, as the writer. They have a dialogue with you. And that's one of the things I really miss in London. London is notoriously a slightly more professionalised audience. You don't get as many simply people who love coming to the theatre. It's a lot of people who are teleproducers looking for a writer, casting agents looking for actors, and so there's a much more sort of sit back and come on, entertain me, rather than an active dialogue. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I think there is it is quite political. It's a political play because it's about war, but it's also a political play about Scotland, and so I think there is. English audience has loved it, but I think there is a layer that a Scottish audience gets that an English audience simply wouldn't have had access to, which is about the relationship to the land, about the relationship to the past, about the relationship to England. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it in front of Scottish audience, because I think it will make it a slightly different play and a better play and a more profound play than it already is. And I think David's really aware of that.
God, well, thank you so much, Roxana. It's so exciting that you're going to bring this production to Scotland and that we're going to be able to tour it with you in the Lyceum. It's fantastic. So I really look forward to seeing it.
That's fantastic.
Thank you so much. That's brilliant.